There's a difference between asking a question in a meeting and asking a smart question. Smart questions get remembered, and so does the person who asked them. Today, I'm giving you 4 with the exact phrases for each. How to ask smart questions in meetings. A lot of international professionals hold back on asking questions in meetings. Maybe they're worried the question will sound very basic. Maybe they just don't want to slow things down. Or maybe they're not even sure if the question is relevant. So they stay quiet, or they say something vague. And the conversation moves on without actually answering it. Here's what I want you to understand. In most American workplaces, asking questions is one of the clearest signs of engagement. The people who ask good questions tend to be noticed as strategic thinkers, the ones who catch problems early on. Hi, I'm Nicole. I spent over 12 years in corporate America and more than 14 years teaching English internationally. Today, we're going to be talking about 4 types of smart questions with the exact phrases to use so you never feel you have to hold back again. This video covers content and confidence. The content is the 4 question structures. The confidence is knowing that smart questions aren't just acceptable in most American workplaces. It's one of those things that gets you noticed in a positive way. Let's go through them now. Before the 4 types, let's do a quick frame. A smart question does at least one of these things. It clarifies something specific. It points out a consequence no one has mentioned yet. It moves a stuck conversation towards a decision, or it questions an assumption the group is making. Vague questions such as, "Can you say more about that?" doesn't really do any of those things. They ask the speaker to do all of the work. Smart questions show that you've been doing some of the work yourself. One more thing, everything in this video works the same in virtual and hybrid meetings. If you're not ready to actually speak up, you can type these exact questions in the meeting chat. A smart question is a smart question, typed or spoken. We'll go deeper into virtual meetings later on in this season. The first type, the clarifying question. Use this when something is vague and you need more specifics before you can add something useful. Most people, when they want clarification, they ask it in some way like this.
We need to make sure the client deliverables are ready before the end of the month.
Can you explain more about what you mean?
I just mean everything needs to be finished.
That exchange went nowhere. The question was too vague to get a useful answer. Here's what a smart clarifying question sounds like instead.
We need to make sure the client deliverables are ready before the end of the month.
Just to clarify, when you say deliverables, are you referring to the final report? Or does that include the supporting data files as well?
Both the report and the data files. Good question.
The same situation, but a completely different result. The second question is specific enough to get a specific answer, and it signals that you're already thinking what ready means in actual practice. The second question, the implication question. Use this question when a direction or a decision has been proposed and you want to figure out what it means downstream. The phrase, "if we go with option, what does it mean for related area?" This question signals strategic thinking. You're not just reacting to what's on the table. You're thinking about second-order effects. You'll hear that phrase in American offices. It means the things that a decision touches on next.
The team is leaning toward pushing the launch to Q4 to give us more time to test.
If we push to Q4, what does that mean for the marketing campaign? I think they've already started building around a Q3 date.
That's a really good point. We'd need to loop them in immediately if we make this call.
You've identified a dependency that no one else has named. And that's the kind of contribution that gets remembered. The third type, the priority question. You use this when the group keeps going in circles between competing concerns. The phrase "between X and Y" which is the higher priority. This question does something powerful. It forces a choice. It turns a vague discussion into a decision point.
We're trying to balance speed and quality here, and I'm not sure we can have both on this timeline.
Between speed and quality, which is the bigger priority for this particular client? That might help us figure out where to focus.
For this client, quality. They've told us they'd rather wait than get something that isn't right.
I want you to notice something. The manager didn't say, "Great question," and that's okay. They just answered it, and that is the most common outcome. The win is not praise. The win is that the conversation was going in circles. Your question created a decision, and now the team knows what to optimize for. A direct answer is a success. Count it as one. The fourth type of question is the assumption question. Use this when a plan rests on something that might not be true. The core phrase is short. Are we assuming? And then the assumption. On its own, it can sound like an accusation, so you want to put a softener in front of it. For example, I want to make sure I'm following the thinking. Is the assumption, and then state the assumption. If you know what's at risk, extend it. Because if that changes, it might affect, and then name the outcome. This one takes real listening. You have to notice what the group is taking for granted. When you ask it well, it can prevent a very expensive mistake.
The plan assumes we'll have the engineering team available starting in September to build this out.
I want to make sure I'm following the thinking. Are we assuming the engineering team's current project wraps up by end of August? Because if that slips, it would push everything here.
That's exactly the dependency. We should probably confirm that timeline before we commit to September.
You've surfaced a risk that was hiding within the assumption. And in most rooms, that's the kind of thinking that gets noticed and remembered. Today, we're practicing the implication question. If we go with option, what does that mean for related area? Because it's the most versatile of these four questions. If we go with option, what does that mean for related area? Let's break it down. If we go with, this opener signals that you're looking at consequences, not just reacting. If we go with, what does that mean for? This is where the strategic thinking shows. You're not asking what the option is. You're asking what it causes. What does that mean for? The full phrase at natural speed. If we go with option A, what does that mean for related area? I'll say it again. If we go with option A, what does that mean for related area? Here's how it sounds in context.
We're thinking of switching to a monthly billing cycle instead of annual.
If we go with monthly billing, what does that mean for our cash flow projections for Q3?
It's specific, it's forward thinking, and it's strategic. Practice that structure until it comes naturally. Then fill in whatever option and area are relevant for your meeting. 4 mistakes that I see happen often in meetings. Mistake number 1, asking multiple questions at once. What's the timeline? Who's responsible? And what's the budget? That's 3 questions, and usually the easiest one gets answered while the more important ones may be pushed aside. Ask one question, wait for the answer, then ask your next question. Mistake number 2, asking a question and then answering it yourself. What does that mean for the marketing team? I mean, they'll have to adjust their timeline, right? You've undermined your own question. If you have a view, state it. If you're asking, let the room answer. Mistake number 3, asking questions just to seem engaged. If you don't genuinely need the answer, don't ask. Filler questions are obvious and they water down the impact of the good questions. Mistake number 4, asking the right questions in the wrong room. If your question only affects you, your task, your deadline, your access, a 20-person meeting is not the time for it. Type it in the chat, save it for a smaller meeting, or ask afterward. I'm happy to take this offline. Can I grab 5 minutes later? Reading the room is a part of what makes a question smart. Your challenge this week. Use one of these smart questions in your next meeting. Before the meeting, look over the agenda and ask yourself, what's vague here? What's the implication of the likely decision? What assumption is everyone making? Then prepare one question using one of these 4 structures. Have it ready before you walk in or before you log on. Just one question. And tell me in the comments what you asked and what happened. And if the answer was just a, we'll look into it, tell me that too. That is a very normal outcome and it still counts. Thank you so much for watching. We are 6 videos in and you have a framework, a prep routine, phrases for confusion, phrases for confidence, ways to disagree professionally, and now 4 types of smart questions. Next week, we're going to talk about how to handle interruptions, what to do when someone cuts you off mid-sentence, and how to get back into the conversation without losing your point. Subscribe so you don't miss it, and I will see you next Tuesday.